My wife and I had been married for 10 years, and our anniversary party was just around the corner. I felt incredibly lucky to have found someone to share my life with for so long. We knew everything about each other and were best friends. We believed our zodiac signs made us soulmates, and maybe that's why our relationship felt so strong. Though I knew her sign was often associated with cheating, I brushed it off and trusted her completely for the past decade. We had a beautiful daughter together. 3 years into our marriage, my wife had been working in the same career. She was about to get her biggest raise right before our planned summer family vacation. It felt like I had found true love, and I thought she would always be there for me. The night she came home after getting her raise, she seemed flustered, blown away by the good news, but there was something in her expression that hinted at worry. I asked if she was having trouble believing her own success, and she forced a laugh, saying, "Yeah, but I could tell she wasn't convincing me." Sensing something else was going on, I tried to ask, but she brushed it off, saying she was fine, just pleasantly surprised. Cheating didn't even cross my mind at that point. Before heading into our bedroom, she mentioned how incredible her boss was, and how lucky she felt that he really liked her a lot. It caught me off guard and sounded strange, and I think she realized she had slipped up saying it like that. The next day was our anniversary party. As we were getting ready, she received a phone call from her boss. She excused herself to take the call in her office, something she usually did to jot down notes for later. Little did she know, I sneaked up close to the door to eavesdrop on their conversation. At first, she thanked him again for the raise, but then things got hushed. She whispered how glad she was to thank him properly, calling him amazing, and saying she wanted to be with him again. Then she asked him about security cameras in his office, making sure they wouldn't be caught doing whatever they were doing, or they'd be fired. It all became clear to me. I felt like bursting into the room and confronting her, but instead, I decided to make an announcement at our anniversary party. I needed to do something that would push me to confront her and go through with the divorce. I was pretty certain she had just confessed to sleeping with her boss in his office. I stood frozen outside the door, waiting for her to come out. She seemed really worried when she saw me standing so close, trying to act like everything was okay. I forced a fake smile. She asked if I was ready, and we left. I felt like a zombie, and she was restless, lighting a cigarette because she gets that way when she's stressed out. During the drive, she tried asking again if I was okay, clearly wanting to know if I had heard her conversation. We arrived at the venue, and I turned to her saying, "Let's go celebrate our 10-year marriage, wife." My voice sounded robotic, lacking any anger. She knew I had overheard them, but she couldn't bring herself to talk about it. Inside, she sat there sweating while I took my time to calmly greet our friends and family, pretending everything was fine. Our 7-year-old daughter was there too, as my parents had given us some time alone for our anniversary. Seeing all our loved ones and our daughter made my wife start itching and looking really uncomfortable. Her face turned red, and people started noticing, circling around her and saying she didn't look well, even though she insisted she was fine. It was obvious to everyone that she was sweating like crazy. I saw this as my chance to speak up. I raised my voice and told everyone that my wife was having an affair with her boss. Everyone was shocked, and she ended up fainting. Thankfully, our family and friends weren't heartless, and they rushed to help her, fanning her and using a cold cloth on her forehead, the old-fashioned way, I guess. When she came to, she looked so ashamed and couldn't say much. She finally managed to say she wanted to go home, and I asked which home she meant. She broke down in tears and ran to the bathroom. I thanked everyone for coming and then took my daughter home with me. We went to bed, and my wife tried calling a few times. A couple of other people called too, but I was already asleep and didn't hear any of it. I felt relieved that I found out the truth and followed through with kicking her out. Later on, I learned that one of my wife's cousins let her stay at their house, but that wasn't all that was going to change. I decided to email their company's HR department about what had happened. A week later, they got back to me, thanking me for the information and letting me know they took appropriate action. After that, my wife called me. She started by calling me a low slime bag for ruining both her and her boss's careers that they had worked towards their whole lives. I called her a low slime bag for ruining our marriage after I put in 10 hard years for her and our daughter. How could she do that and still expect our daughter to look up to her as a mother? She didn't reach out to me until visitation with our daughter started after the divorce, but you know what? I've already found a woman who has her own daughter and does things for me that my ex would never have even considered. It's bittersweet though, because I realize I wasted a lot of time trusting her.